Hi guys, this is Carlos once again, and for today, we're gonna talk about the institutional outcomes of STI, or what they might call STI 4Cs, which is composed of character, critical thinker, communicator, and change the depth. Without further ado, let's dive deeper in this topic. To start this off, I think it's not enough for us to learn or just to know what is this forces or the institutional outcomes. But I think what's more important is how do we apply, or how can we exhibit STI forces in the midst of pandemic, or even in spite of the community quarantine. For the first one is character. It's not about the person in a novel or a movie. It's about the mental and moral qualities of distinctive person. In other words, it's a unique personality. So every person has its own personality, and we are unique in our own ways. But there are moral qualities that should be present for everyone. So the real question here is, did we retain our morality or our character through all of the struggle, challenges, and everything else? Did we do everything with our hands or anything with excellence? But did we do it with our character, with our right mindset? And with that, we came to self-realization and think about what the things we have done. But for me, the easy answer for me is do not compromise our morality over such things, because our character is what tell everyone what kind of person you are. So if we compromise our personality or character, then it's not so valuable to defend, and it degrades our whole personality, and it's bad. So with the STI forces, especially the first one is character. With our morality in our mind, we shouldn't do something that will agitate other people or trigger some people. Everyone in this world is facing the same situation, but handling it with different means. In other words, we are faced with pandemic, but not everyone has the resources as the other person. So everyone is struggling in these times, in these trying times. So being rude or immoral person, the next C we're gonna talk about in the 4 C's of STI is critical thinker. But what is it, and how do we attain critical thinking? The very first and most important step for developing critical thinking is becoming a critic of your own thoughts and actions. Without self-reflection, there wouldn't be any growth, and you can break down every information with your own thoughts and asking yourself why is it like this, why is it like that. So being critical thinker is not questioning everything without any sense, but it's about your own drive to know what's true. And being critical thinker is not believing the information at hand at once, but the drive to research it, dive deeper within it, and prove it that it's the right thing. During this pandemic, fake news has been so dominant, or it's still prominent to these days. And how do we exhibit critical thinking in the midst of pandemic is this: we should research every information or news that we see, not believing it and sharing it, which will cause spreading of misinformation. So being a critical thinker is sharing information that is factual, based, not biased, and not misleading. because being critical thinker will uplift STI's institutional outcomes. That is, our students will be using their self-reflection before believing on some. Our next C in the institutional outcomes of STI is communicator. An effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding emotion and intention behind the information. That's a good line. As well as being able to clearly convey the message, you need to also listen in a way that gains the full meaning of what's being said and makes the other person feels heard and understood. So that effective communication combines four skills that makes a skill set. And number one is engaged listening, which will make the other person feels heard and understood, which is a good feeling. Number two is nonverbal communication, which is our eye contacts, our gesture, which will tell the other person that we are really into it. And number three is managing stress in the moment, and that's about the stresses, fluctuations, or what do we convey or our emotions. And number four is asserting yourself in a respectful way, because being a communicator is not about winning an argument, but how do we convey our message to be understood, and how can we, the other person, be understood. What's stopping you from communicating effectively? The common barriers here, as stated, is stress and out of control emotion. When you're stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, you often misread other people, which will cause to misunderstanding and an argument. Next is lack of focus. It means when you are talking to somebody, you are out of focus with that person, like you're thinking of anything else other than talking to that someone. So how can we exhibit the communicator or the one of the institutional outcomes of STI in the midst of the pandemic? I think it would be best to make ourselves more approachable, more loving and caring, because we shouldn't shut our lives in because it's pandemic. We would like to lock ourselves in our rooms and just don't pay attention to the world. But I think it's not right. In spite of the community quarantine, we should extend our help and communicate with our authorities and convey a message, or even an effort to help, because everyone needs a hand in these trying times. So being a communicator is not all about being good at talking, good at exchanging information, but it's also about how do we make other people feel that they are understood. Last C in the institutional outcome is change adapt. Utilizing one's ability to adapt and manage when a need for transformation or transition arises, to utilize his or her capabilities into its full extent and build the capacity of the community where he or she belongs. I think for me this is so important, because every one of us is, just like I said earlier, is we are faced with the same situation but different stresses or degree. We are faced with different challenges as well. So being able to adapt and manage ourselves to transform during this trying time is very defining factor skill, because being able to adapt many things will make us stronger, makes us grow a lot, because being change adapt is to drive innovation, to try things that we are uncomfortable. But remember this, if we are in an uncomfortable situation, which is we are outside our comfort zone. It's where we will grow. We can grow inside our comfort zone. We should go outside of it, be uncomfortable to grow or to evolve and to transform. So being change adept during this pandemic is a key for us to success, because we are faced with the new normal, which is the online classes, where students will not go to the school in person, but goes with the call, like the MS Teams or video conferences, where we will discuss with the teacher just in our front, which is a monitor and camera. It's been really hard because you're lacking of personal or other people's attention or interaction. So being alone in this pandemic and learning alone and not adapting to the new normal, which is online classes, is very hard. Our study habits will be demolished and new study habits must be adhered. So being change adept as an STI student, we should be change adept, because no matter what learning mode, or whether it's online classes, modular, or even face to face, we should be able to adapt in every situation. And with the STI 4Cs, or the institutional outcomes, such as the character, critical thinker, communicator, and change adept. To end this, we should use this and apply it. Really apply it in our lives, because this will help us to be a better person, a better version of ourselves, and be successful, because being an STIer will be our future.